Hello, hello, hello.
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 Welcome to Spy Party Season 4 Week 8 Sunday Cast.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Joining me, as always, is Taboshi
Hello.
and Warning Track.
Hello there. Thanks for having me.
And I'm your host for today. My name's Vordar. It's not that important.
We ran out of hummus.
Yeah.
We did run out of hummus. It's too delicious. The hummus always goes fast.
So, where are we starting today?
Nanthelas versus JYATY.
Yeah.
Nanthelas versus... Wait, how do you say that? JYATY?
Well, that's a question of some debate. I say JYATY, but I have no idea if I'm actually right. We're in bronze. Let's say that. We all know how to say
There's
bronze.
a lot going on in that name.
Yes. Yeah, there are a lot of decisions to make when pronouncing that name.
No.
Far more than there normally are.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is actually a pretty important game for bronze.
It is. Yeah, JYATY, or whatever their name is, ran out to a 4-0 lead, and since then tied and then lost to Catnip. So definitely hit a bit of a rough patch after what looked like smooth sailing. JYATY looked like just an easy favorite to coast into the bronze finals about halfway through, but has definitely slowed. Nanthelas has had kind of the opposite thing, not starting slow, but tied in week 2, lost to JYATY, the same person here, in week 4, and then has won 3 straight since, 21-6 in total games, so not even close.
Wow.
Yeah, Nanthelas is on a hot streak, and this is their chance to put a capper on it and take control of bronze, more or less guarantee themselves a spot in the final with a win, whereas Catnip is looking on, I'm sure, hoping very much that JYATY loses, giving her a chance to slide into that finals.
All right, so let's get into the picks and bans.
Let's do that indeed.
All right. Anyone want to guess what the first ban is? You don't have to.
Balcony.
Gallery. Close enough.
Damn it.
Close enough.
They both end in RY, right?
Yep. No way.
Fair enough.
Next ban is Terrace. Not that surprised. People don't like Terrace.
The only thing ever surprising about banning Terrace is that someone felt they had to. In other words, they anticipated that it might be selected, which is not usually the case.
Yeah, Terrace is a map that has gone through some changes, and it's at a place where it's generally considered to be a lot of fun, but not necessarily balanced.
Right. There have been some tweaks, and it makes it certainly more interesting than it was. It was basically double modern before, just sort of a frame game and not a very good one, not many opportunities. With the addition of Toby at a bar rather than just with a tray and a couple sets of statues, framing's a little more viable than it was, but the clock's still kind of slow, and AIs are still not usually doing enough to be framed. You're banking on a low percentage play there. So probably needs a little more, but it's getting there.
Yeah. And apologies, but I actually flipped the bans. It was JYATY banned the Gallery and Nanthelas banned the Terrace.
Got it.
Yeah. First pick from JYATY is Courtyard. Courtyard.
Courtyard!
Someone's going to pick it, right? The only people who don't pick Courtyard or who ban it or something are just people who find it boring, which I sympathize with them very, very much. But if they don't, then someone's bound to pick it.
It's a very comfortable sniper-heavy map, so it's usually a good place to start off a game if you're not feeling like you have an edge in the early parts of a set.
I actually think the single best reason to pick Courtyard is if nerves are a problem for you. And you really just want something comfortable to start off, and if you split it, fine. It might be a bit of a lost opportunity, but this is a very tense game, as we well know, and that is a non-ridiculous reason, really, to think strategically and say, you know what, I just need to ease into my first couple games.
Next we have Library.
Well,
Bit of a
fair
bigger
enough.
map.
Library is the spy's playground, pretty much, because the sniper can only see so little of the map at any given time.
Then we have Pub. Pub.
Pub. I like Pub because it's fluid. No two pub games are alike, and it allows you to kind of exercise your creativity a little bit.
And finally we have Ballroom.
A ballroom, it's all about cover. If you think you can get a spy win by someone and you really want to hit them there, that's what you want to do. Particularly good against certain types of campers, I would say, or just someone who kind of gravitates in that general direction. You can see the whole thing, so good for behaviorists. You just want to see the party at a glance and see who's moving around, more general overview stuff. But if you want to see a specific thing in the ballroom, that can be very, very difficult.
All right, and I think I have the game loaded up. Let me just make sure I have everything correct. I have to do these nifty changes things. Who's the sniper?
Transitions, yes.
Transitions.
And once more, we are starting things off on Courtyard. Nice, comfortable place where we expect to be trading sniper wins. But let's see if we'll be able to break that mold tonight in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
And the last spying first. And I always like to see what someone does right out of the gate. I want to see if they're aggressive right out of the gate to spy. No, it would turn out.
Nope. Nope, just a window pad and then stepping in for the first flirt at conversation. It's a close white for 34%. This is about as standard as it gets.
If you were going to write a script for a Courtyard game, this is what it would look like. Close flirt to start it off.
If you're going to write the script for a Courtyard game, it looks like 2 flirts and then a contact and then the last flirt, and then you go to statues and you get your inspects and then there's 1 minute left.
Basically, yeah. Maybe you do the inspect swap combined, but at the very least you end up with 2 missions done. I would say that drink tank indicates, going for a timer flirt, and the fact that they haven't left since certainly indicates as much.
So we're on script so far.
We're on script. Not a lot of plot twists in your standard Courtyard script.
There's the cooldown, there's the second flirt, another white test for 68%. So we're going to have to make sure we at least get relatively snugly with the seduction target for the last flirt, or we risk having to force a green test.
Yeah, I don't mind the timer flirt on Courtyard. The map is just has just enough time to start with that you can afford maybe 1 timer flirt, and on top of that, you can use that time, or you should use that time, to look around at the party and see who some of the early suspects might be.
Statues before contact.
I like it. Just because it's slightly different and therefore slightly more interesting from our perspective.
Well,
it's not.
It doesn't look any different from the sniper's perspective, really. It just looks like we're behind the curve. We've got the fingerprint, we've got the 2 inspects, but we've got a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, but that's the reason to do it. They didn't want to risk the fingerprint.
All the way around to the last statue.
Bad decision.
Trying to pick up another flirt, but the seduction target is already gone. Not the start Nanthelas was looking for.
And it was very foreseeable that flirt wasn't going to come off. They'd been there too long. Oh boy, ready for that potential swap. JYATY takes the safety off, was expecting it.
And the end of red.
There's the contact. This is pretty early to be this on top of Nanthelas.
I think maybe on top of fingerprint, and when you catch 1 fingerprint, it's very easy to imagine you missed a second. So I think we could get a shot here without Nanthelas finishing.
Yeah, we've got the contact, we've got the flirt, we've got the bullet.
There it is.
And JYATY has the first win.
My best guess is really on the fingerprint, and like I mentioned, it's just very easy to think, you know what, maybe I missed an early fingerprint off a drink. Maybe I missed a difficult fingerprint. They could be done. Either that or saw a pathing error that we didn't and was sitting on them.
Yeah, not a whole lot else to say about that. Let's get into the next one. Nanthelas looking to answer back in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Ooh, tried to predict where the section target was going to wind up, but wound up bouncing him away into statues. Not what you want to see early on, but we might chase in for the first flirt at statues here. And we are going to do exactly that. Pick up a highlight early on, but there's a lot of progress to be made here. Oh no, going for the inspects first!
That's a big mistake, I think, and
Does
also... Yep.
not get any flirt off.
I have to imagine that's just scrolling quickly and, not being sure. Just not making sure that you click the right option. By the way, I had to leave that conversation artificially early, too, to get it in. I don't mind that so much in the early chaos of the game, but at minimum, you gotta get the flirt off. And a quick window leave, too. JYATY is not hanging around long enough in any of these places.
Yeah, this is A little bit worrying for JYATY. There's the first flirt on 34%. We don't have to worry about a statue visit, because we've already got that, but other than that, we're well behind the curve. JYATY stepping out to the far window, possibly looking for a time ad, but Nanthelas is not rotating away, so JYATY just steps out towards the double agent to start the contact. Ooh, very fast green contact.
And pretty good. I don't see any hard low lights.
Yeah.
Just the ambassador. So in that sense, really, really good. Right now, though, I'm a little nervous for JYATY because you have this problem. We've talked about this before. If the sniper didn't actually catch anything and had to shoot just based on activity, JYATY is moving around twice as much as the second most active party goer right now.
Yeah, not only that, but seduction target bails on him. So now we've got 1 minute left to play and only the one flirt in the bank still. We might have to time ad, and we do exactly that. It's a white test, and it's a bullet. It's 1-to-1.
I don't think it was going to matter anyway. The BB was really good, but nothing else was really going on, and just so active. Some snipers don't really care about that. They're really focused on the missions themselves. But if you take the broad view of the party, which is much easier to do on Courtyard, remember, to see the whole thing, at some point you're going to go, man, that Alice is just walking across my screen again.
Yeah. Sometimes the most suspicious spies are the ones you just notice a lot.
Yeah, sometimes that's enough. If you don't see anything done, but you just see who's moving around a lot, that's usually the spy.
Either way, getting ready to step into the next game here. It's 1-all as JYATY steps back in the sniper side. Nanthelas on the spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And I think both spies so far are thinking, geez, I really didn't get anything by them here. Nanthelas in particular, oh, another quick window leave. Nanthelas in particular did not really do much of anything when they were shot.
That was a little bit of a painful attempted window flirt. Started off way too far away, and by the time we got in close, it was already time for the second target to step away. We do follow into conversation to get our first flirt for 34%, but a lot of people will really nail you on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously pairing for flirts early on Courtyard, not a super common thing. On the other hand, this makes it about as easy as it gets. That was much more blatant than most, even if you're not the kind of person who normally would pair flirts. You might notice that. Now, it looks like JYATY really watching that ambassador very closely. Very closely.
As you should.
Yeah, but possibly at the expense of other things. I don't know if that's something Nanthelas is going to be able to tell, but I think this could be one of those games where if you purloin across the map from the ambassador, you might have luck.
Nanthelas looks like he's in on the timer flirt here. Behind the back bug does not wind up working out. Gets the green test on the timer flirt, though, up to 85%, but really would have been nice if we were able to get that ambassador bugged.
Yeah, really can't tell if JYATY saw it or not. I will say it wasn't a great angle. It was pretty much dead from the side.
Picks up a fingerprint on the drink. Minute and 30 left, no completions, but a lot of progress. We're going to need to find a contact sometime soon.
I think Nanthelas got away with that attempt. JYATY doesn't seem to have seen it.
In the end of red.
Oh, this is very strange. JYATY kept the ambassador off camera for a good 5 to 6 seconds, and I have no idea what they were looking at on the other side of the map. Toby was on the other side of the map. I think a low light was at statues. No idea what that was about. Very strange.
Green test on the contact on the way in. We've got 1 minute to play as we step into the statues.
Best guess was trying to bait a purloin out of a suspect or something.
We do have one fingerprint, keep in mind, so if we can find something at the end, we haven't been highlight yet, but we've definitely been seen at statues.
Remember, Nanthelas shot last game possibly for that fingerprint. Goes
Here
right
we
for
go.
the next one. Wow.
Does get the fingerprint, puts it down, we're not dead yet. One flirt will do it, 23 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, has to go. Oh, yeah, you want to space this out a little bit. Might as well.
We've got 85% on the flirt after the last green. This is good. There's the flirt. There's the mission countdown.
That's
It
gonna
doesn't
do it.
look like JYATY is on this, and Nanthelas picks up a spy game on the second round of Courtyard.
I think just didn't catch the first fingerprint. The second was very aggressive. I mentioned earlier that even if you don't pair flirts, that was an easier flirt to pair than most. Similarly, if you don't watch fingerprints very well, that was still an easier one to catch there too, because one right into the next, right into the briefcase late in the game. Even if you're not on fingerprints that much, that's got to catch your eye.
And Nanthelas has broken serve as he steps into the sniper side. JYATY is going to need a win on the spy side of Courtyard if he wants to go into the next map even. Let's see if he can pull it off. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, really big win. Interesting that Nanthelas went right back to the fingerprint, even though from their perspective, maybe that's what got them shot the first time. We might have guessed wrong about that, though. Maybe Nanthelas had a better idea than we did as to why that first shot went off.
Relatively slow start from JYATY, stepping into conversation with the double agent instead of the seduction target.
It's something.
Banana bread.
Knocks out 2. Let's see if he gets queen for the third low light. Yes, and one of those 3 low lights was an early statue visitor.
Banana split right into statues to pick up both the inspects and the fingerprint and gets highlight for his troubles. But that's a pretty quick start.
It's not bad, and I actually kind of like that the twin was taking the fingerprint off the briefcase right in front of them. So it's almost like even if you're thinking of fingerprints, there's someone taking a much more obvious fingerprint in front of the one you're taking. Also, that's really early for the ambassador to be leaving a fingerprint on a statue. So I'm going to guess that this one might be clean.
Yeah, not the kind of thing you usually see. Green test on the first flirt will bring us up to 51%, and if we can find a 2 flirt and another fingerprint somewhere relatively inconspicuous, this could be a very fast game with no hardtail.
Yeah, and that's really significant because usually you need to space out both the flirts and the fingerprint a little bit. It's hard to get both of those done quick with, say, like more than a minute left. So if they get a green here, it's going to be very hard for Nanthelas to shoot a fingerprint.
Oh, he did hit the green. This is huge.
Pretty big. So here's the question. Nanthelas is either all over this fingerprint and is going to get them for it, or JYATY's got the win.
Assuming the ambassador puts his hands on something.
Oh, that's true. That's that does happen sometimes, right? The ambassador very kind putting an early print on the statues like that when they normally don't. But they might not do anything else after this. They might be forcing action.
He's got his briefcase back now, so he'll probably put that down somewhere. 1 minute left to play.
No one is invading that ambassador's personal space, though. If you're JYATY, you have to think about doing it yourself or make other plans very, very soon.
This is a difficult situation. Usually you can count on a lot of movement from the ambassador, but when he's sitting in a conversation and no one's that close to him, you wind up in some very awkward situations, just like this one, and we've only got 30 seconds to play now. What's the plan?
This is unusual, though. The ambassador does usually not stay put this long.
Oh! Oh, a bum shot from Nanthelas on Smallman is going to give JYATY the win he couldn't seem to find, and even after a couple of spy wins, we are, in fact, coming out of Courtyard tied.
There was a slight bump between Smallman and the ambassador around 150. It really obviously wasn't a bug, but was also just kind of near the ambassador. And then you just look at the timing. A suspicious character going to statues at a very suspicious time. It could just be a timing shot. It's going to be, I think they're going to finish, and this person looks like they could finish.
Absolutely.
I don't think it was going to make too much difference, though, although the ambassador was not being very helpful there at the end. So JYATY might have never got a chance for that second fingerprint.
But it is 2-all. As we step into the library, JYATY on the sniper side of things to start out the festivities. Nanthelas on the spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And that's 2 spies who got within a fingerprint of a spy victory and lost it.
Oh, very early time ad as JYATY was zoomed in on a statue twin.
Yeah, but Alice still in the bottom corner of the screen as it happened. Clearly just not looking at the clock at all, but otherwise on screen, I think, when it happened.
Early time ads are quite often a strong play near the beginning of a set like this because it gives your opponent something to think about for the entire rest of the match.
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting, though, is that that twin was at center statues, which makes them a potentially huge suspect down the line, technically at least, depending on what kind of behavioralism you want to get into. Would they do that? That seems like a bad thing to do as the spy. On the other hand, they're liable to remember if they notice the timeout a little late. This person could not have possibly done it.
Side statues have been picked up, so we've got 2 inspects there, setting up for an inspect swap late in the game if we so choose. Now in conversation with the seduction target and the double agent. Going to start with the flirt for 34% on the white test.
Not a great time to BB. There are 4 people out of conversation on the far right of the map, and a few more scattered throughout. I would say it's a below average double agent right now.
And the opportunity has been lost as the double agent sequesters himself from the conversation. Nanthelas has taken a highlight as he steps into the blue bookcase.
Hard to say what that could be. That could be a delayed time ad thing. I remember this person at Windows. I think I remember that person at Windows. It might be an attempt to flirt pair, too. Pretty hard to say based on the timing.
A lot of people in there for a flirt pairing, but it might have just been bad conversation positioning as well.
Yep.
Is this going to be an animation transfer at the bust? It's not.
Now, in theory, it should be a good time because neither Toby nor the Ambassador are on that side of the map. But for whatever reason, JYATY actually looking over there a lot. Maybe just because of that full conversation. Maybe Nanthelas a bigger suspect than we think. Maybe they kind of remembered, you know what? I think I do remember seeing that person earlier.
Second flirt from a bit of a distance, but does hit the green test to bring us up to 75%. That gives us a little bit of wiggle room on the last flirt.
This is interesting. General goes to the far left statue, gets a highlight, then goes to the right statue of the same set, bump that back down to neutral. I guess JYATY's just thinking, I don't think they'd do that.
Animation transfer at the blue bookcase as we go to put the book away. Microfilm is in pocket, but even though we have a lot of...
Oh boy.
This is okay, though, for JYATY, because even though we've got a lot of progress, last flirt, but too far away and hits the white test up to 93%. Minute and 45 left to play, not a single mission completion as we step back into the statues here.
Now, if someone's wondering why they would get a low light there after having just done microfilm and from the sniper's perspective having done nothing, the idea is that you generally get book transfers where they carry a book from one shelf to the other on library. It's just very effective that way. So if you see someone put a book back in the same shelf and you specifically remember them getting it from there, sometimes that'll get you a low light.
Inspect swap has come off in a very unusual fashion. The first 2 completions of the set. Contact comes off. So does the shot on the twin who is at the statues early on.
Yep, there it is. There it is. That's all it takes sometimes, you know. Center statue visit, banana bread works out, and you see that the swap has taken place. I don't think the twin was ever at that statue, but that's what happens when you let the spy sometimes, kids.
A lot of idling into a late rush, and that's exactly what you want to have happen. Now JYATY on the spy side, Nanthelas on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
JYATY daring to pick one of the slowest characters on one of the biggest maps. I know some people who, if you idle even a little bit as this character on library, they will lowlight you because who would pick that?
It was a bug. That was a bug, and we got highlight. It wasn't a bad bug, but it was the side facing the sniper, and it was a little bit visible, so...
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to come back from this. And it's almost, I wonder if you would go for a bug if you knew there were going to be 3 immediate statue visitors, by the way.
Who knows? Actually,
yeah.
you might be even more inclined to go for an early bug that way because you think the sniper's attention will be divided.
Absolutely, yeah. You can argue it either way. That's the beauty of these kind of decisions. You know, the meta goes back and forth. But yeah, very slow
hanging
character.
out
If you
in an
want
innocent conversation.
The problem is, if your ST leaves or something, you really can't chase them. You could end up walking, you know, a whole minute across the map just to get one thing done. Your pacing has to be that much better with a character like this on a map like this.
Not necessarily your pacing has to be better, but you have to be able to have really efficient movement and be able to get missions done while you're moving across the map, instead of moving across the map to get missions done. Well, we've gotten a fingerprint off of a briefcase. We've gotten a bug early on that we've been highlighted for. Nothing else has really happened. We're trying to get to Blue Bookcase in time for this flirt.
And if only the character were a little faster, right?
Actually has to wind up flirting before we take the book in this case, which that's the kind of thing you're not going to be paying attention to as Sniper unless you're already really suspicious of the person, and in a case like that, it's already too late for you.
Well, that's true even if there was nothing else going on, but in this case had a drink, so you get to flirt during the sip, which is actually a nice way to flirt beforehand without looking suspicious. Pretty good. I'd feel much better about this right now with that fingerprint if let's say, flirt was 2/3 of the way done rather than 1.
Yeah.
That's a big difference at this point in the game. With all this partial mission progress, like I say, it can fall very quickly. A lot can happen quick, but you can't rush those last 2 flirts usually.
There's the microfilm getting done as we transfer blue to yellow and pick up the side statue for the second fingerprint and a pair of inspects.
So here's the question. Can you really go back to statues again late like this and then get 2 flirts done? I guess you go flirt and then you go to the 3rd statue on the far right? Maybe.
Maybe we just walk across to the other statue and inspect swap. Don't even bother with the flirt because we don't have time.
Wanted to flirt there, I think, but maybe he's just going to bide their time and do exactly what you're saying. Just give up on the flirt at this point.
JYATY is right next to a swappable statue, and that looks like the play. I feel like Nanthelas is paying a lot of attention, though. 30 seconds left.
And Toby and the Ambassador are right there. There's no reason for Nanthelas to look really anywhere else. No one's at the statues on the other side. And
no swap.
I think that might be why. I wonder if JYATY was thinking, I'll swap here. Oh, wait, everything is happening.
Contact.
Everything is happening right here. There's no reason for
No! The Devil Agent leaves! The Devil Agent leaves the conversation at the worst possible time! Panic, Purloin! It is a white test! It's going to be overtime, but it doesn't matter. The shot comes off.
Wow.
That hurts.
So what hurts me about that is I really want to know which bits of analysis were right there. And now we don't know because the Purloin cuts through all of it. And JYATY gets cut down. I think some of the decisions there were fine. But really, if you get that second flirt done somewhere in there, combined with some of the other movement we were talking about, the decisions there at the end get much easier.
The thing that makes that pill a little bit easier to swallow is that chances are Nanthelas was going to take the correct shot anyways.
Well, that's a tough question, right? I really don't know. And that's kind of why I'm bummed about the Purloin, because I really want to see how big of a suspect they were. There's a lot of late movement, but nothing overt.
All right. Well, rough turn of events for JYATY. After putting up that big defense on the spy side of Courtyard, now finds himself down 2 halfway through the library. Let's see if he can start a comeback here on the Sniper side. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
JYATY's actually played some really good spy games here, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Attempted bug does not come off in the time of chaos.
Not really.
Wanted another chance at it, but got bumped around too much.
It's not the time of chaos anymore, guys. It's just the game now.
So Nanthelas winds up in a conversation he doesn't want to be in early on library. Is going to pick up a briefcase to start off the festivities and immediately takes a highlight for the fingerprint.
Well, you can see fingerprint wars are continuing. We've seen a lot of fingerprinting early on, and now we see that JYATY is very aware of it and tracking the fingerprint early.
Stepping into bookcase next to the seduction target. Oh, and the ST steps away before we're able to get the flirt off.
That can ripple throughout the rest of the game. Big deal sometimes.
This has been a really rough start for Nanthelas.
Yeah, that highlight is probably, assuming that's a serious highlight, it's not worth the fingerprint.
Does finally pick up that first flirt up to 34%. But this is not where Nanthelas wants to be right now.
No, it's not a good position. Interesting how on fingerprint both of them have seen so far tonight.
Look at this! Doesn't want to get scorned again, so takes the second flirt before starting the read animation. Two minutes and 10 left to play. We've got 2 flirts and fingerprint and a highlight for our trouble. Stepping into the last flirt here. And in conversation with the double agent as well. Nope, never mind. It looked like it was, but double agent is just hanging out at the bust.
And I just don't see a lot of party movement here. I think this is more like an actual library today.
Everything's coming up JYATY so far, which is unfortunate for Nanthelas.
Here's the question, though. That's not necessarily as good as you think. If you're JYATY, you're thinking, is nothing happening, or am I missing everything?
Only 2 highlights, and Nanthelas was one of them. There's the second, well, an attempted fingerprint on the green bookcase. Doesn't come off, as it was a difficult fingerprint.
Oh.
Nanthelas gets low-lit, possibly for inactivity.
Well, there again, was at green bookshelves earlier for that flirt, and then seen again at green bookshelves later. That's probably what it is. But is it going to matter if they don't get anything done?
Green Purloin is definitely the way to start this off now that we've taken that low lit. Nanthelas knows he's low on time. Purloin comes off. Time ad comes off on the green test. And now he has bought himself all the way back into this game.
It's just still going to be so hard when you see there's been a green time ad and there's a green Purloin and the spy is low lit. If you can just banana bread and not knock out maybe the top Purloin suspect, which might be Morgan Freeman there or one of the people in that conversation, it's just really likely. Here comes some low lights off. Possibly is a delayed reaction to the time ad. You got to imagine a banana bread's going to induce a shot, and you can't imagine it's going to be Nanthelas.
Yeah, there's no way. Nanthelas is in prime position all of a sudden. Another instance of the double agent leaving at exactly the wrong moment. This time on the other side of things, but this time
so huge.
It might not matter. The shot comes off, and Nanthelas takes the win anyways.
I am so surprised that shot came off in the end, actually, though, because the double agent left, and JYATY had such a good view of 2 of the SDAs, and the third was on the far end with 1 person who was low lit. So I gotta imagine at that point they're thinking, well, if either I'm wrong about my suspects, in which case why would I shoot Queen, or they didn't actually complete double agent right there. So I'm not quite sure I follow it.
Yeah. Probably a bit of an ill-advised shot, but it certainly works out for Nanthelas, who is now up by 3. JYATY needs this win on the spy side of the library just to stay competitive. Let's see if he's able to get it. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so the thing is, that seemed like such a significant early highlight, but when you're willing to highlight for that sort of thing early on, you're probably willing to aggressively low light for things too. And that's what happened.
Early flirt at center statue, picks up a highlight for his troubles. But seduction target only once cycles it, so we are going to be able to get some good inspects here. Flirt and all 3 inspects done pretty quickly, although I'm a little bit worried about the flirt pairing after those 2 early highlights, and I think JYATY was seen stepping right back in next to the seduction target again right afterwards.
Yeah, pretty suspicious for sure. Now, if there's a kind of map you're going to get away with it on, it'd be a map like this. But, yeah, there's a chance they've been paired here. The thing is, you only need 1 more, and you could stand pretty far away from them, so it might not matter.
Second flirt brings us up to 85% as we grab an innocent drink and head off towards the blue bookcase side of the map. Oh, hello!
I don't know, that was okay, yeah.
Yeah!
Nanthelas agrees.
Yeah! Not enough to knock him all the way down to low light, he eventually decides, but that was some really good bouncing. Other than the 360, but with the way the movement looked between the 2 characters, you'll notice that more than you'll notice the 360. It looked very good.
Yeah, pretty good stuff there. I'm a little confused by the decision, though. I understand if you want to lowlight them for it, but if you're using highlights to track statue visitors, Why bump them down to neutral for good bumping? It feels like it should be tracking a discrete thing. If it's tracking general suspicion, sure, but if you're using it to track statues, why would you just sort of bump them down without making them a complete low light?
There's the Seduce being finished up with 2 minutes left to play, stepping into the green bookcase to start this transfer.
Well, presumably, we'll see.
Nope, just puts it back. I lied to you. I'm sorry.
You made a reasonable assumption, but JYATY is thinking, you know what? I'm not sure about this after all. Probably has no sense of how suspicious they are right now after that bumping. With a bumping like that, you think I'm either a huge suspect, or maybe I'm low-lead, or maybe neither.
Put himself in a very good conversation position there, outside of the ambassador's personal space violation, but inside range to Bug. Unfortunately, steps away anyways. Back in the green bookcase we go.
That missed fingerprint definitely cuts down your options.
And this time we've pulled out the green book and immediately trucked along to the yellow bookcase. Very brief stop off at the windows, and we just slam it back in there when the sniper's not looking. That's 3 completions, but only 40 seconds left to play and no more progress to work with.
Nanthelas was watching the ambassador so closely that they did not see JYATY either approach the yellow bookshelf or walk away from it. No trace, not even like general direction stuff.
This is going to be the first fingerprint with 30 seconds left to play. I don't know if we have time for this.
I don't see the point.
There's a putback. There's the Bug! We go back in the... I don't think you were seeing it!
Off screen.
It's going to be a swap at the end. It's going to be some overtime.
Off screen.
It's going to be a green swap.
Oh, pending's bad. It's either going to be a time ad or you're going to know statue visitor, and there's only 2 statue visitors.
Oh, man.
Or a Purloin.
Irish is Pilot. JYATY is not.
But it clearly has it down already. He's ready.
Here we go.
Nanthelas is ready. Nanthelas is ready. You could see him looking back and forth here from Seek to Twin.
There it is. He's trying to dance, but he's not able to do it.
Yep.
And Nanthelas is up 6-2.
And there was a great moment there where as Seek approached to complete the swap, Nanthelas' camera swung over to see where Twin was, like to make sure where are they in case I need to shoot them. And at that moment, you could tell they were on it.
Yeah.
That was the moment. Just the camera movement told such a story there. It's where are they? I got to get ready for this. Clearly just not that suspicious of Irish there. And the timing just lined up so perfectly the other way. Really good job.
Yeah.
Microfilm was completely off screen. Bug was completely off screen. Still manages to get the swap there. Doing 3 hardtails is pretty tough, kids.
It is. But sometimes that's the position you put yourself in, and it nearly worked for JYATY. If he'd hit the white test instead of the green, I think he wins that game.
I think you're probably right. I think that's probably just a tough position to be in. And boy, the spy play tonight has been really good on both sides.
All the play tonight has been really good on both sides.
Well, yeah, well, so if the snipers have won this many games and the spy play's been that good, then obviously it's just been great across the board. Very well done. Bronze representing tonight.
And now we step into pub with Nanthelas starting things off on the spy side. Has bought himself 4 match points. JYATY fighting to stay alive on the sniper side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
How hard a spy party, kids? This is the 5th division from the top. And look at all they're doing. Look at all they're doing here in bronze.
Attempted bug in the time of chaos coming through that door does not quite take, unfortunately, because it was pretty looking. Does get the early green for 50%, though.
I should add, both of these players probably not going to be in bronze for too long, based on the way we're seeing them play tonight.
Oh, Jesus, yes. You're not kidding.
Yeah. Bug attempt that didn't take, by the way.
Another one?
No, the first one, yeah. It's just interesting, yeah, in that time of chaos in pub. It's such a high-risk maneuver, but sometimes it's completely invisible.
Oh, just immediately purloins it! No delegate, just freaking takes the drink.
And JYATY is just now going to see it because obviously not looking for it at that point in the game. I believe was next to Salmon when it happened. So I guess that's who the frame target is.
I guess so. Oh boy.
Not sure if a full idle cycle was completed there or not, and I thought that was kind of a wide path in the conversation. I don't know if it's going to matter, though. The sniper's laser resting right on Nan afterwards.
It is so hard to tell what the level of suspicion is after a moment like that. It could be just waiting for... It could be anywhere from just waiting for confirmation to has no idea.
Right, and I find it usually is smart to assume has no idea. That ends up being right more than the other one.
Yeah. Ooh, a little bit of a 360 coming out of conversation there. Was not pretty looking, but it wound up working out for him, I guess. Stepping in for what I believe is a possible 2-flirt, even with someone in between, but the selection target steps away before we get a chance. Minute and 30 left to play.
Worth considering if we're trying to figure out the logic of that purloin. You're up 6-2. Maybe just do some stuff. Maybe just YOLO at a spy a little bit. You've got a lot of chances to make something stick.
Fake contact! Oh, what the hit high! Everyone's just leaving! Nobody likes banana bread at these parties!
That's pretty rough. Gonna go try it again here.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Everybody walks into the conversation.
There's the 2-flirt on the green test.
Well, now if the frame doesn't work out, you've got a couple options now with that 2-flirt.
You do indeed. "45 seconds left on the clock. Alice steps in the conversation. I think now is where we pull the trigger on the contact.
But there's no SDA in with the twin. Or
You don't know that, though. He doesn't know that.
Doesn't know that, yeah. Well, here we go. This is a little
steps
better.
away.
And boy, this looks like a banana bread right here.
Do
if
it.
You're the twin. This is the time to do it.
Do it! 30 seconds!
Everyone's in
Pull the trigger.
conversation. Everyone was in
gotta-
conversation.
You gotta hit that. It's
Nope.
not. It's
You can't inspect swap here on
This
pub, I
is
don't
not
think.
3 of 5. This is not 3 of 5. Alert! Alert! Here's the inspect.
And overtime? Oh boy.
There's no way. Here's the swap. That's
It's white. It's white.
4 seconds of overtime.
Yeah.
But the shot comes off before it even starts.
For those who don't know, it is so weird to get a banana bread off on pub with nobody outside of conversation. That does not happen. That was a gift. JYATY, by the way, kind of paused when the statue swap happened, almost as if to say, really? Wait, that just happened? That doesn't make any sense. Kind of like the purloin earlier. Just a really atypical thing, maybe, that can throw the sniper off. I think the banana bread might have done the trick there, though. It would have been perfect.
I think so. You've got to at least hit it just to see what happens in that situation, right?
Yeah, I think even just as like a Hail Mary, the purloin's gone off. You've already sort of decided to at least try it.
Like, even if it would give off some lowlights, you got to pull the trigger on that. But that would have been free.
Yeah, would have been basically perfect. I think that's the move to make there.
All right. So JYATY stays alive so far. He's got 3 left, and he's going to try to get his first spy win of the comeback as Smallman. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Now, if you're Nan, okay, hard to win spy games anyway. Might as well just try some stuff. Well, there's that rush bug we talked about in the doorway. Not visible. Doesn't take, though. If you're Nan, you can just try stuff as spy. It was going to be tough to win anyway, but these are the ones you need to win to stop a comeback. You need to just take care of business on the sniper side.
Gets highlight for being Smallman and then statue. So this is a situation.
Yeah, highlight for being Smallman. Wasn't a big pileup early on, too, with the bug attempt. I don't think it was visible, but sometimes that's reason enough. Gotta keep track of that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'll get automatic highlights sometimes for Smallman or for one twin as opposed to the other.
Ooh, little bug coming
Yeah,
on the
no.
way through, but trying to get a little too cheeky there. A hand clipped all the way through, and that's going to be a bullet and the end of the match as Nanthelas takes the set 7-3.
Nothing really going on there. Not a good time for the bug. Nothing happening at all. Everyone just sort of standing still in conversation. There's no reason to be looking anywhere else at that point. And that's just a really, really big win for Nanthelas. That I mentioned earlier, a 3-game winning streak. We can make it 4 now since that week 4 loss to JYATY. That gives Nanthelas 13 points in bronze, 6-1-1. They are basically in the finals. I'll have to sit down and do the math, but I'm pretty sure they're, if not in the finals, might as well be at this point. JYATY, on the other hand, the loss here gives Catnip a little bit of an opening. Catnip has played just as many matches and is only 1 point behind. The tricky part for Catnip has played JYATY twice already and split the season series. So the next tiebreakers match wins. They're down 1 there. And Catnip still has to play Nanthelas, which, as we saw tonight, can be pretty scary, in Week 10. So Catnip's going to need a little help there. Definitely going to need that Week 10 matchup. It's entirely possible that we won't know who faces Nanthelas in the finals until the Week 10 matchup between those two.
That is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and just so you guys understand, when you see the score here, it's really crazy how well someone can play and still lose by 4 games. JYATY was in a lot of those games.
And with that finishing up, let's step into the next match. This time it's going to be Challenger League, Pox versus Dowsy.
Yes, let me set that up. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Pokemon
So
Go
Dowsy,
or something like that.
yeah. Dowsy